Ooh. Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. On Monday nights at 9 p.m., we have a chick class, that is Chinmaya Yuva Kendra, and simultaneously we have a chisk class, that's Chinmaya Setu Guys. Both classes right now are exploring how to convert values into virtues. Values we will reach in chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita. In yesterday's class, the value we focused on was ahimsa, which means non-harming technically. Practically, it means sensitivity. Whatever you are sensitive to, you do not harm. How does one nurture ahimsa? Through swadhyaya. The more you know who you are, the more you know another, and you can care for them. Yesterday, I had also shared, how do you practice sensitivity with one who's insensitive? If you're trying to practice this with someone who's insensitive, yet is open-minded, the flow is to accept them as they are, and then to educate them. Educate them in that area where they're insensitive. This is what we're doing through our Prithvi Seva Sangha, correct? Small example of that is using water bottles. A water bottle decomposes after 450 years. Many don't know that, and once we're educated, we would dare not use one. When I speak and people put a plastic water bottle there, it creates a bad energy. Now, if you're with someone who's insensitive and is closed-minded, then what should you do? Accept them as they are and forget whatever negativity they may direct towards you. Forget about it. And if it's too toxic, forget about them in a systematic way. Most of the people we interact with, we consciously interact with them. But if I'm in a group or with a person who's not helping me to evolve, I don't have to give them as much of my time, correct? We've been fortunate, or maybe I've been fortunate, that month after month, more seekers join Meaningful Mornings. There's 100 of you live right now with your cameras on. 150 watch the recording on Facebook, 50 through Instagram. But there are some who've stopped because they don't see the utility of what's being shared. I accept that. And see how awesome they are? They're systematically giving me less of their time. See how they've forgotten about Meaningful Mornings. We are a community that is practicing sensitivity, practicing acceptance. Verse 7, Etam vibhutim yogam cha mama yo veti tattvataha. Shri Krishna uses the word mama. Mama in English means mine, which means different than me. This is mama pen, which means it's different than me, yes? It was very sweet. Yesterday, Vyasa was walking around with his night clothes on, and he had his pen stuck in his in his knot collar because he sees me put my pen in my kurta. So he put it in his night clothes like this. And it kept on hitting him as he was moving. And why that's important, Shri Krishna is known as Achyuta. From a devotional perspective, the one who never falls. From a philosophical perspective, the one who never changes. He's sharing, I am consciousness. This consciousness does not get expressed. That means there's only consciousness. But if you don't feel that, this consciousness expresses as yoga, which means unity or creator, which then expresses more as vibhuti or creation. Consciousness, creator, creation. The final teaching, though, is no vibhuti, no yoga, only Achyuta. Yaha veti tattvataha. The one who knows this. Veti here doesn't mean in a scholarly way. It means in a personal way. I have a decent memory, but I've not memorized most of the verses of Bhagavad Gita. And sometimes people will come to me and share, I've memorized all of Bhagavad Gita. And when they share that with me, I experience 0% of FOMO. Because Bhagavad Gita is not to be scholarly, approached in a scholarly way. It is to be felt in a personal way. So if I feel one verse better than your memorization of all of the verses, then I'm happy with who I am and what I'm doing. If you know Achyuta, yoga, vibhuti personally, saha, yogena, because of your knowing, avikampena, one will not panic. One will not experience fear. When I ask people, what are the greatest fears that they experience? Typically people share death and public speaking. Death is true, public speaking is not. How so? We only fear public speaking because of the sense of being judged. If you were speaking publicly to a group of dogs, would you be afraid? Right? You don't sense that judgment. Now, judgment can be good or bad, right? I can be judged the winner or a loser. So we push that projection farther, that judgment will be of one that I'm a failure. Look at how I look at how I'm speaking. And what we've attached to failure is sorrow. So why do we fear public speaking? Actually, we fear sorrow, not public speaking. Now, for the one who knows creation, creator, consciousness is the same, there is no distance, so there is no fear. It's like speaking to those dogs. You feel natural. As someone who speaks publicly as a profession, recently I had a meeting with KPMG Global. This is not a local office, but all offices. And they were referring to me as a professional volunteer, which I liked. What I have found to help in terms of public speaking, start that what you're about to do is his work. Try to have this mindset that you're engaged in his work. Deeper than that is for you to feel he is the one whom you're speaking to. You're not speaking to strangers or your friends, you're speaking to him. Better than that is for you to feel that you are him. So you're doing his work, you're speaking to him, the speaker is him. That's veti tattvataha. Then saha avikampa. And finally, yujyate na atra samshayaha. This deepening, when one is established, one will never change from this. There's no back and forth then. Once you know, you know. If you think of your own life, when you go to Starbucks and you find out that there's 20 grams of sugar in an awesome vanilla bean frappuccino, once you know that, you can never not know that, correct? It doesn't go back and forth. You're established in that. And so in this message, what we experience practically is to train ourselves in commitment. When you train yourself in commitment, you start to tune into that which doesn't go back and forth. It becomes your personality type. Isn't that what we're doing with Meaningful Mornings? Being consistent. This Thursday is Guruvar, the day that we remember our lineage of guides. On that day, we complete 800 days of Meaningful Mornings. 80 weeks of Bhagavad Gita. You are planning our party, correct? I haven't seen many party planning details on our website. See, it's hard to facilitate a virtual community, correct? And so I'm asking you to reflect on how do you bring people together virtually? Next verse, number 8. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha mattas sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante man buddha bhava samanvitaha. Aham, I. Sarvasya, all. Prabhavaha, am the source. This chapter began where he shares, I am the source of the rishis and devas. Now he's sharing, I am the source of all. Are you included in all? So the next time you go to a mandir and they ask you, what is your lineage? You say Bhagavan Krishna. Isn't that the truth? How can that pujari say, no, it's not? He's officially shared that. Whenever I read these teachings of Bhagavan Krishna is the source of all, etc., I'm reminded of a pyramid scheme. That it all comes back to him, correct? Mattaha sarvam pravartate. This is so lovely. From me, sarvam means all again. Pravartate means revolves or evolves. And the implication of this is evolution is only in relation to consciousness. So if I gain more pleasure in my life, I go on a cruise for a month, more position in my life, that I'm now the chief officer of technology, more possessions in my life, I have brands of cars that are not even available to the public, none of that is evolution. Evolution is only in reference to becoming more mindful, deeper than that, intentional, deeper than that, visionary, and the deepest, conscious. Iti matva bhajante mam. Those who know this, how did they live? Bhajante. Bhajante, I'll explain, but essentially it means they worship. Worship me. Next week, we will be celebrating Deepavali. And so many around the world, what they will be doing on Deepavali, they will be doing because they feel they're supposed to. If you do what you're doing because you're supposed to, that is being scholarly. But if you're doing this to be more conscious, closer to consciousness, that's personal then. So what is bhajante? I've shared this many times. I'm challenging you. Are you practicing this? You start off singing the nama, but then you deepen that to seeking the rupa. You think about the form of the divine. You deepen that to serving the guna. You're converting values to virtues. And finally, surrender. Surrender to the Dhamma. Surrender your ego and feel that divinity. Buddha sounds like Buddha, correct? See the origin. Buddha means those who are wise. Bhava samanvitaha. They are ones who have faith in all, specifically themselves. I have lots to share on this, but I'll give you a final reflection. Our younger son, Shuka, whenever our older son is complaining, this is what he says to him, okay? Imagine a 3-year-old telling this 5-year-old, you get what you get and you don't get upset. You get what you get and you don't get upset. So he's learning this in school. So now he's the teacher in our home. Those who have faith, you get what you get and you don't get upset. Inspiration to application. Your recent application was to rate how judged you feel. And I read many of your reflections. Here's a simple observation. The more negative you feel, the more you project that negativity outside. If I'm frustrated, I project that on you that you're frustrating. You're frustrated too, even though that may not be the case. Many times people will tell me, Vivekji, you're so busy. It's because they're busy. They're projecting that on me. I'm not busy. So I'm not affected by such judgments. Here is your application for today. Anytime you feel negative, you have to say out loud, you get what you get, you don't get upset, okay? Say it out loud. You get what you get and you don't get upset. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be joy.